I see a Budweiser. Go ahead and hold it up.
Yes. There's
that was
our
the
Budweiser.
biggest clue.
Yes, right
Doing
there.
it for Dale.
Man, it's so many gimmicks, right? I feel like they're making it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, a lot of people, you get polarizing opinions on DRS.
I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here, but sometimes the effort, it's all about the boys. You know, like, hey, you
It
know,
is.
life sucks sometimes, and you need
Yes.
the boys.
iRacing kind of always has a tendency to kind of buff
Yes.
the new cars just a little bit. I'm not going to go on record saying it's because they want people to spend money on their platform and buy all the new
Conspiracy
content.
confirmed.
But
Yes.
but
We welcome you all to slow motion for this presentation of the Formula Vee Weekend Warrior Series, and we're about to grab the start in just a few moments' time. It's going to be Megan Overstreet leading them to green with Ladar right alongside. We're waiting for that green flag to come at, and the drivers are now on their way. Some of these drivers may be a little bit more aggressive towards the end of this race, as side by side with Love and DeGassis heading into 5.
Oh, it's close. It's a bit treacherous on the corner. Rex is just singling run wide there, Ron.
Down the running order, Love and Brewster, meanwhile, they have been in the tow and they've seen all these drivers try and do their own maneuvers. They definitely have something cooking behind the wheel of those FV race cars. As Montgomery gets that move done, one's running at the back. Well, not actually running right now, I don't believe, as there's a spinner with Ladar.
Oh no.
Oh, and there's contact as well. Well, hello and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to Slow Motion Broadcasting, and welcome to Season 4 of 2024 for the Formula Vee Weekend Warriors. From now until the beginning of December, we've got you covered here on SMB for all of the great Formula Vee action from this series. I hope you stay tuned because this is going to be some fun. My name is Ron Maunz, and joining me this season behind the microphone and camera controls is producer connoisseur, commentary rookie, and my longtime colleague, Josh Wilkie. Now, at this point, I would like to briefly take a small detour because, Josh, I'd firstly like to welcome you into the commentary booth. Full transparency, folks, Josh and I have been on hundreds of broadcasts together since the spring of 2023, with Josh on the cameras and myself on the call, so it's pretty good now that we get to share the booth together, man. This is going to be a heck of a lot of fun this season, and it all starts right now. Today, we kick off this brand new season at the old school UK track, Oulton Park. Despite being very narrow with unforgiving runoff areas and not a whole lot of heavy braking opportunities, this track always lends itself to some pretty good racing. Couple that with a car that seems to put on instant classic everywhere they go, and you've got a pretty tantalizing prospect, Josh. I think for your first ever time commentating a race, you've picked a pretty good one. What are your thoughts heading into this race?
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. This is my first time, obviously, on the mic, and really looking forward to it. We've done so many races together, I've never actually had a chance to speak about anything, so pretty cool to be on the call. First race here at Oulton Park. Always an interesting race. These tire barrels and tire bundles are definitely going to be an issue, and I'm really looking forward to my first broadcast here, so thanks a lot, Ron.
Oh, it is going to be a hoot, and especially considering the packed field of Formula Vee race cars that we've got right now. I'm sure these drivers are very thankful that they're on the qualifying track, while they're in this qualifying session on this track all by their lonesome. 27 cars is currently setting a qualifying time. That is a hell of a lot of participation to kick this brand new season off. And speaking of, we've got a fantastic schedule of races to look forward to here on SMB. And we're also going to be kicking off the other Weekend Warrior Series with the Formula Fords and Spec Racer Fords. Tomorrow I will be on the call with those, with Randall McGrew, who was part of the Formula Ford and Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors broadcast, filling in for the SRS. He's currently on vacation, so I will be stepping in for him for one and only time, I believe, this upcoming Sunday. But nevertheless, getting ready to get things up and rolling today. Currently in this qualifying session, 8 minutes and 47 seconds on the clock now. And it's Thortulo, the Brit, with a Japanese flag next to his name. He's currently in the number 27 car, currently at the provisional pole at a 157.291. He's always been a pretty fast driver in the Weekend Warriors world. The Formula Vee being an absolute absolutely no different. He runs Formula V's in real life, unless I'm very much mistaken, so using that in real life racing experience to try and send this car around this track. We can call him the hometown hero because he is a Brit, and I'm sure he's going to be using that experience to his advantage here. And looking right now in fourth, we've got SMB's very own Adam Thompson, currently the top running Spec 2 driver, but looking up and down this field right now, Josh, with the top, what would be the top 25 separated by less than 2 seconds. These Formula V races are close, but even in the single car qualifying section, these drivers are just vacuum sealed together.
Yeah, absolutely, Ron. We've definitely got some big names in here as well. Jason Green. We have the Rodriguez, DeGassis, Love, Szczynski, Brewster. These are all people we know. Michelle Lynn, of course, who puts on these fantastic races and really helps a lot in the background. So it's going to be a tight race for sure, especially up top in the pros there. I know Jason Green is just, I believe he took last year's SRF as well as the official SRFs as well. So this guy's got some pace. I know Adam Thompson's pretty new to the series here, but clearly got one of the nicer paint jobs out there, and I'm sure we're going to see some stuff from him as well. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, that is a sleek-looking race car, and as he rounds his way under Warwick's Bridge on what may be one of his final qualifying laps in this session. Of course, 4 laps at these drivers' disposal to try and get the job done. At this point in time, Adam is currently on his 4th, so we'll follow him throughout the rest of this lap to see what he can do. This is gonna be, we're definitely gonna be treading on ice, Josh, following him throughout this season, because of course he used to be the boss here at SMB, still greatly involved with all of the stuff behind the scene. Actually going to be on the air with me for the Weekend Warriors broadcast tomorrow, but right now Adam coming across the start finish line in a couple of moments time. Is it an improvement on the 157.566? Don't believe it was. He toes back to the pits. Not going to improve, but still P5. Very good for his first qualifying session with this series. But as this qualifying session is slowly drawing to a close, Josh, you brought up a great point. Talking about Michelle Lynn, she's jumped into the S1 class after winning back-to-back S2 championships. I'll touch on that in just a little bit, but Michelle has been very generous to try and support and make these broadcasts possible. She's going to be the sponsor for some of the weeks. However, for this opening week of the season, we have another fantastic partner. Today's broadcast of the Formula V Weekend Warriors Series on Slow Motion Broadcasting is brought to you today by Will at Steel Valley Vapours. Visit www.steelvalleyvapors.com to learn more and use code DOITFORDALE to get 15% off. And I'll tell you what, Will has got some great taste supporting such an exciting and entertaining series and making these broadcasts possible. But as these drivers come down pit lane, Josh, looks like this qualifying session is slowly drawing to a close. Not a whole lot of cars left out there on track. It looks like it's going to be the provisional pole for Thorottulo, and what a lap time as well.
Yeah, that's a quick one for sure. Out there all by himself with no draft. That's a good one. 2/10 ahead of the guy behind him. Obviously, that's a pretty big gap for these cars. You know, they're very fine margins and stuff at the front end of the field here. So we'll see how that plays out later on.
Yeah, 0.2 of a second in a single car qualifying session is a pretty expansive gap in the race. You're not going to see anything like that. A 0.2 of a second gap, pretty much a vast yawning chasm in a Formula V Weekend Warriors race. So I'm sure Thorottulo is going to be enjoying that front starting position. However, come time for this race, he is going to try and just hope for all the chaos going on behind him and try and let him just drive away when everything is said and done. Lots of new drivers running in this series as well. There's Mario Pacone in the 248 car, running an interesting line. The driver from Mexico skipping out on the backstretch chicane. Hopefully he's not going for a jump, because I remember the last time I did a Weekend Warriors broadcast at this very racetrack. Someone went into low Earth orbit, and I think I damn near peed myself laughing.
He's off the road.
Going into the gravel trap. There we go.
Having some fun.
Yeah, got a little bit of rally action, possibly. It's a good thing to do that in the qualifying session instead of the race.
Yeah, definitely. You want to get that out of the way before you're behind a bunch of cars through there, for sure.
That's an interesting line. I'll tell you what, Josh, we were kind of talking about this before the start of the broadcast. Despite this track being the full international version of the Oulton Park racetrack, I don't think I've ever done a broadcast of a race using both of these chicanes. It's either one of them or none of them, so it's a little bit odd. I'll ask you this here, Josh, as this qualifying session is slowly drawing to a close. Do you have experience with a broadcast at this actual layout of this track as well?
Yeah, I believe I do. I think I've had 1 or 2 here, and I can tell you that those chicanes are 4 opportunities to hit 4 tire barrels. Those tire bundles will destroy your car. They don't move. They will tear the side of your car off. And obviously getting closer and closer to them just adds lap time. You can gain some lap time by getting really close to them and really squeezing by, especially the leading one on the inside. So it'll be interesting to see. Obviously on the first couple laps there, when everybody's stacking up in those 2 chicanes, it's really not easy to get through there as a pack of cars. You have to be very respectful of the people around you. So we'll see how it plays out. Well, we got another spin here from Mario as well.
Oh, there we go. That was heading through cascades of turn number 3. Real challenging corner, however. This racetrack that's probably not going to be the last of the spins. Of course, with a big pack like this, we may see some fisticuffs break out in the 30-minute race that we have coming up. That's going to be starting in just a couple of moments time. Good point that you brought up there in reference to the tire barriers heading through the chicanes, because they're basically made out of the matter of white dwarf stars. I've seen some drivers hit that in real life and in the sim. I'll tell you what, it is never a pleasurable experience. I think both myself and Josh can speak about that behind the wheel, but nevertheless, with this qualifying session coming to a close, I think we could take a look at the starting grid. There we go, and it's Thor Tulo grabbing the first pole position of this Formula Vee Weekend Warrior season. Simon Mayer, a fixture in the SRF Weekend Warriors, is going to join him on the front row. That's Jason Green in 3rd. Michael McConnell in P4. SMB's very own Adam Thompson going to be starting this race in 5th, with Guido Marzucchi starting in P6. And we have Matthew Merciez, I probably killed that pronunciation. He's starting in 7th alongside Jeff Jacobson in P8. That's the reigning Spec 1 champion who won the championship in dominating fashion, Jesus Rodriguez in 9th. Alan Degas is going to join him rounding at the top 10. Andrew Love going to be 11th. Parvinder Ladar starting this race in P12. And looking through the rest of the field, we've got Morn Human in 13th, Jim Brewster in 14th, Brian Straczynski in P15, Simone Franchioni, I probably killed that pronunciation as well. He's going to be starting this race in 16th. Dan Straczynski going to be starting in P17. Michelle Lynn starting in 18th. Michael Lattarulo in 19th. Jason Grider going to round out your top 20, and then rounding out the rest of the field is going to be Matthias Marin, Josh Justice, David Fitzgerald, Gary Wobold starting this race in 24th, Brian Hansen in 25th, Mario Pacone in 26th, Nick Tulo in 27th, Travis Rail in 28th, Wayne Buttermore in 29th, and James Hadlock will round at the 30 cars that we have taking to this racetrack. Usually in these Formula Vee races, trying to find any sort of breathing room is a big source of trouble for these drivers. But with 30 cars around a racetrack, which is a little bit small, only clocking in at about 2.5 miles, I think that issue is probably going to be cranked up probably by about 50. What do you think, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely. 30 cars around here is a lot of cars around here. This is definitely a very aggressive, undulating, pretty narrow track really for 30 cars. That being said, it is kind of a perfect layout for these cars as well, and the speed that they travel and so on. It's a really fun track here, and I think these guys are going to be able to manage it, but I guess only time will tell.
Only time will tell indeed. We've got 30 minutes of racing action in front of you this afternoon on Slow Motion Broadcasting, and we've got the rest of the season coming up as well for both this series as well as the other Formula Ford and Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors Series. Gives you more of a reason to hit that subscribe button here on Slow Motion Broadcasting so you never miss a thing. We've got some great racing action coming up for you in this race and the rest of the races that we have on this 13 race calendar from this season. That's all about to kick off in just a couple of moments time. Waiting for that pace car to go back down pit lane and put the field in the hands of Thor Tulo. The green flag is down. The drivers are on their way, and that's a very good start from the pole setter in the number 27 car. He is going to be leading them comfortably off into turn number 1 as the field fans out side by side, 3 and even 4 wide, a little bit farther in the back. Most of the drivers running inside the top 10 get through turns number 1 and 2 cleanly. However, looking throughout the rest of the field to see if the rest got through as well. Yes, they did, and you can see our SMB colleague Adam Thompson making up a spot already, and look at that full commitment from Thor Tulo. That's going to hurt him a little bit.
Somebody's in the
and
rhubarb.
Off-track action a little bit farther in the back. Not
That's
sure
Matthew.
who that is. That is, yeah, you can see that is the number 78 car of Matthew Mercedes. So he's going off the circuit. Meanwhile,
we got to pass the front.
Jason Green has gotten the move done on Fortulo to slip his way up into the front. I gotta say, Thor did not have a good exit coming out of turn number 3. Cost him a whole lot of speed going down through into Islands Bend before they finally hit the brakes, heading into shell corner of turn 5. But as they head through Brins for the first time, it's Jason Green, Fortulo, Simon Mayer running at your top 3 with Adam Thompson leading in the S2 category.
Wow, I'm pretty amazed that we got through that chicane so clean. Looks like only one car actually kind of got off in the grass there. Really, oh, we got somebody out there. You're doing very well here getting through the chicanes.
That's your first commentator jinx, Josh.
Yeah, it didn't take long, did it?
Had to break it in somehow. So that was Simon Mayer that just went off the track. He was running in 3rd, now dropping down to 15th. That's the thing with these Formula V races. You make a small little mistake and then you just get relegated down to what feels like the 7th circle of hell. So Simon Mayer going from 3rd to 16th in the span of about 20 seconds. That's certainly news to the ears of our SMB colleague Adam Thompson, as he's now slipped his way up into 3rd. But getting back to the point that you were going to mention, Josh, very good from these drivers to make it through the first lap, mostly clean, as Thompson loses out on spots. McConnell will get some job done to move up into 3rd.
Yeah, it was a nice little pass there into the last corner. That's always a bit of a tenuous place to get on the brakes, and looks like he just was able to do it a bit later than Adam there, so got in front of him. I have a feeling he's not going to sit here. He's going to want to get back by him as quickly as possible.
I think he is going to be chomping at the bit to try and get his way up into the podium spot for the driver making his debut in this series. That would be a fantastic result for Adam.
Bit of contact.
We have to be, well, that looked like a decent amount of contact between two Formula Vs heading into turn number 3. Not sure exactly who that was. It may have been Andrew Love, unless I'm very much mistaken. He's lost out on a little bit of time, currently running down in 10th, second of the S2 drivers as it stands at the moment, with the other newcomer to this series, Simone Francione. He's currently running down in 11th. I believe it's Francione there. My Italian pronunciation is not being very good. My Italian sister-in-law, they want to punch me the next time I see her. But nevertheless, these drivers in this field negotiating the second lap of this race. I gotta say one thing as well, despite the fact that this track is only 2.6 miles long, the stop-startiness of it means that lap times are pretty big, as I think Morn Human has had an off-track heading through Brins, as he's now dropping down the running order like a lead balloon, and there's Morn Human. He's had a moment. Let's see what happened here, Josh.
Yeah, a quick replay here. See what happened to Morn. It looks like maybe he did it on his own here. See how it plays out. Yeah, just clip that inside curb a little bit, unsettles the car, spins you up. Pretty standard stuff, really, in that corner. I can personally say that's happened to me more than a handful of times.
I think there may have actually been a little bit of contact as well with one of the tire barriers through there. That or my eyes were just deceiving me, which I wouldn't entirely rule out at all. But nevertheless, following the Italian whose name pronunciation we are trying to get right, it's Simone Francione in the 227 car. He's driving for Fox Anderson Racing Team, which probably explains why Michelle Lynn is trying to chomp at the bit to get past the Ford Racing car. She's now slipped her way up until 11th, so well done from Michelle to slip her way up so close to the top 10, however, so far away as well, as Andrew Love running in that top 10 spot has actually built up a significant gap between himself and Michelle, so only about 2.5 seconds between the cars running in P10 and P11 at the moment. But as this field is beginning the third lap of this race, already have 4.5 minutes on the clock. However, the battle at the front is still continuing to heat up as Green and Tulo, I believe, very briefly swap positions, heading down in through Island Bend. But Jason Green getting a move done to get his way back up into the lead for now. However, this game of leapfrog is definitely going to continue between these two. We're going to be riding on board with Jason Green in the one car, heading his way down in that small little flat out blast between turns number 3 and 4. Got to get off the gas badly here, and Jason Green, that was how he was able to retake the lead of this race from Fortulo in similar fashion to what he did at the very beginning. Those two begin to check out as the gap between themselves and SMB's very own Adam Thompson has increased to about 1.5 seconds. So I think these two are riding very comfortably at the front, while it's just absolute pandemonium behind.
Absolutely. Looks like Adam got the job done there as well on McConnell. So he's back in front. We'll see if maybe he's got pace here and he can start pulling away and catch up to these guys. It looks like he might. Let me take a look at our last lap times here. And yeah, he's actually got fastest lap of the race at the moment. So we should probably see Adam moving forward here, I think, in the next little bit. See if he's got something for Thor and Jason Green here.
I have a theory as to why Adam is running so well in this race. We never suggested the idea that he hangs out in the Discord server and we could just drag him into the commentary booth to harass him whenever we feel like. If that was the case, though, I guarantee his lap time pace would pretty much entirely diminish. I mean, I've been in that position before. Anyways, this field beginning at lap 4 now, and actually the fastest lap of the race changing hands once again. It was Adam Thompson that switched over to our race leader Jason Green. However, it then went to Guido Marzucchi behind the wheel. The number 19 car set at 157.116, which is actually quicker than the times that the drivers were setting in the qualifying session earlier. Shows you how important the draft is in these FV races.
Yeah, absolutely. Draft's going to be a really big deal around here, so you're probably going to see that lap time kind of jump around a little bit through the field, really depending on when somebody gets a clean lap and gets a good draft down the straights. But yeah, then nonetheless, that's a good lap time from Guido there for sure. He's clearly putting some pace down.
Well, I think there may have been a fight going on with McConnell, Thompson, and DeGassis. I saw Thompson and DeGassis just swapping positions like it was going out of style. Ooh, got 2x2 action coming out of the Shell Oil bend of turn number 5. See the action continue heading into the Bryn chicane. Look at that close stuff. Although, yes, they did.
Well done.
They got it sorted out. That was a Christmas miracle. Oh, nearly making contact with corner exit as well.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy when you're, almost 3 wide there, spread out across the track in 2 different packs to make it through there. That's impressive that they all filed in nicely. Again, done right there here by Martin and the fellows behind him. Well done.
That was a near disaster involving a lot of Formula Vee racers running just barely outside the top 10 at the moment. We'll see a battle inside the top 10. The fight between McConnell, Thompson, and DeGassis is still definitely heating up. And look at Marzucchi maybe trying to get in the middle of that as well. Of course, he set the fastest lap of the race last time by. And now DeGassis and Thompson side by side heading their way out of the final corner of turn number 16. That's Lodge's corner, where they have to deal with a small little kink of Deer Leap, which is still considered a corner around this track. Not entirely sure, even in these Formula Vee race cars, that it is a corner for these drivers. But nevertheless, that side-by-side action is relegated DeGassis back a little bit. It's now Thompson running in an undisputed P4, at least for now, with McConnell extending that gap a little bit. But as those drivers start to go side-by-side, we're still continuing to see Green and Tulo extend that gap. They're just checking out. If these drivers start to battle even harder than they have thus far in the 8.5 minutes that we have on the clock right now, I think we could see Green and Tulo just completely check out.
Yeah, I'm expecting to see these guys. They're playing the game, I think, right? So they're out there leapfrogging each other. They know these guys have some pace behind them. And the last thing they want is Adam and these guys to catch up to the back of them. So if they're smart right now, and I know Jason Green is, he's going to be out there trying to get forward as much as possible. So he's not going to waste any time. He's not going to make any silly passes or anything. He's going to try to get that draft done on the straightaway before the corners and move forward as much as possible away from these guys that seem to be catching them.
Hey, they may not be teammates, but they are working together as if they're a team. They want to finish P1 and P2. They also want nothing to do with the maniacal craziness that's going on behind. And speaking of, that fight has still continued as Thompson's now slipped his way up into third. They're going side by side, heading into Shell Oil's corner not terribly long ago. However, you may see that fight continue. Looks like McConnell has a good run going down the Warwick Bridge straightaway. This is going to be some close stuff here that's actually heading through Clay Hill and Water Tower, now through Druids right now. Now they're going under Warwick Bridge. About to careen their way into Lodge corner of turn number 16. And McConnell now in P3, Thompson in fourth, as Tulo and Green are still continuing to run strong at the north end of the field, with DeGassis and Marzucchi now battling hard. I gotta feel bad for you, Josh. Not only is this your first race commentating, but just trying to pick the cameras for this battle. It's like, I think I've said this probably about 50 times on the broadcast we've done together. Have to be like a chameleon, looking at about 14 bajillion different things at once, as this battle just is continuing to heat up, with Jacobson now getting a move done on the reigning S1 champion of Rodriguez to move up to 7th.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, it isn't easy, producing and talking at the same time, but it's actually going pretty well here, so no big issues, really. The cameras are kind of my thing. It's what I like to do, and I'm digging the commentary as well, Ron, so having a good time.
Yeah, there we go. And I'll tell you what, if you need some, the Hall's throat-soothing honey vanilla cough drops are usually my go-to when everything is said and done. Adam Thompson just got moved on, I believe, to slip his way up into third in front of Michael McConnell. Those two have been swapping positions like it's going out of style, and it's allowing that gap. Actually, no, I say that. The gap between themselves and Jason Green, who's now running in second, has actually decreased as of late. Green now about a half a second back of Thortulo. It hasn't really gone down a noticeable amount. However, once they get within that, 1 second range, that's when that gap just disappears in a heartbeat, because that's the thing. About a 1 second gap to a car in front, you're in that draft, and it's just like a vacuum cleaner attached to the back of these race cars. It just sucks you into the back of the pack that you're running behind. At this point in time, Thompson not terribly far away from catching up to Tulo and Green, and I think that would honestly be the front two's worst nightmare.
Yeah, definitely. They do not want this pack to catch up to them. It does look like maybe, I'm not sure the last lap times there, but it looks like maybe Jason Green had a bit of a not so great lap there and let a little bit of time go. He seems to be catching back up to Thor now, though, so shouldn't be an issue. But those two guys really need to start breaking away. And if Adam and McConnell are smart, they will not fight each other too hard and do the same thing and try to pull away from DeGassis here and catch up to the guys in front is really going to be their only chance.
Harkening my mind back to the last Formula V broadcast here on SMB, as we just saw a gutsy move from Jesus Rodriguez on Jeff Jacobson heading into turn number 1. That was nearly close to contact between the two of them on corner exits. But when Adam was in this very commentary booth, we saw a front five pack fight. That's a lot of words very quickly. Slowly turn into a 10-car fight as we got a fight continuing between Jacobson and Rodriguez. Not going to be close enough to get the move done heading into Island Bend. But when Adam was in this commentary booth for the final Formula V Weekend Warriors broadcast of the previous season, we had the front 5 had about a 2.5 second gap to the back 5, so to speak, with the drivers running just barely inside the top 10. But they were battling so hard that eventually it just turned into 10 cars, 10 Formula Vs, covered by a blanket, and it was total pandemonium. So I think Adam Thompson, maybe the gears are turning on his head, and he's thinking of what happened with the last Formula V Weekend Warriors race. He's probably thinking at this point in time, hey, I need to kind of put my nose to the grindstone, tell these drivers that are around me, hey, look, we need to work together, because at this point in time, Thortulo and Jason Green, they're still pulling away. That gap at the moment is maintaining about the same as it has been since the very start. And that's actually increasing to 2.8 seconds between McConnell and Jason Green. This is not doing themselves any favors, though. They're battling for the final podium position, but as it stands at the moment, they'd be lucky to get anything more unless those front two come to blows, which, hey, you never know in these Weekend Warriors races. But Thompson getting a move done to slip his way into third, fourth. Now McConnell fighting back down the inside, heading into Lodge Corner, nearly making contact midway through the turn, with DeGassis now trying to follow McConnell on the inside of the corner. He's going to have the inside line. I think actually, no, I believe he may try and back out this. Actually, no, they're still just barely side by side, heading their way into one. I thought DeGassis was going to back out and maybe try and slip in behind the 244 car that he was alongside with. But right now, DeGassis is still battling hard, trying to get his way up into fourth. And look at that pack behind him. Jesus Rodriguez trying to get in the midst of that fight as well.
Yep, it's turned into a bit of a hornet's nest here for sure, and that's definitely because the guys fighting for that last position on the podium are fighting for that last position on the podium, which you can't blame them for, of course. It's always so difficult when you're in that position. You have people behind you, you want to catch the people in front of you, and it's honestly just relatively impossible not to get caught up in the fight with the guy beside you. It's very difficult, especially if he's just not going to play ball, and kind of seems to be what happened here, so they're probably going to fall back a little bit now with this fight, and I'm expecting Jason Green and Thor to kind of pull away here, but it looks like we are going to have a pretty good battle from about third back.
Oh, it is going to be pandemonium, but it is going to be exciting to watch as well. Meanwhile, the front two runners, oh my God, never mind that. 3 wide right now between Thompson, McConnell, and Rodriguez. What is I was going to mention that Tulo and Green were still battling. They went 3 wide going down the hilltop straightaway into the hit stops chicane as Brewster's going off the track right behind an off-track excursion for one of the series admins. That's going to take him out of that fight. Actually, the gap between Love and Morzuki as well has taken 2 cars out as a result of that.
Replay here.
Right as I was going to note that they were catching up. has all gone wrong. Brewster, you can see him actually. Oh, it was contact between himself and
Yeah.
Love. That was a
We'll
pretty
try that one
significant
more
back
time
between
here.
the two of them.
See if we can get a bit of a better view of that. Yeah, it looks like he just kind of overslowed for the guy in front of him a bit, and unfortunately Love just a bit of an accordion there. Unfortunate. Looks like he didn't take too much damage, so hopefully he can get right back into it.
Yeah, just a small little love tap from Andrew Love. See what I did right there? And
Oh,
that's a
nice one.
fantastic way to kick this season
I
off.
can't believe I missed that.
Anyways, oh boy. Adam Thompson now running in third. He's in front of Jesus Rodriguez, but McConnell shuffled back to fifth. I mentioned earlier on in this broadcast that these Formula V races are really just a 100-mile-an-hour game of leapfrog, and we're seeing that get put on full display right now. Lots of movers and shakers thus far, and looking down the running order, Gary Wobold running down 13th, up 11 spots. Meanwhile, Tulo and Green continuing that game of leapfrog between the two of them. They have shuffled positions like it's going out of style. Green originally started this race in third, making up 2 spots from her. He's well done for the driver of the number 1 car. Currently running in P1 is a 27 of Tulo is running behind in second. I think we could probably take this opportunity to maybe go through the running order because, of course, we've got this pandemonium that we've spent a whole lot of time talking about. However, the fight outside of the top 10 has actually broken up a little bit. Simone Franchione has actually dropped back a little bit to Brewster, and Michelle Lynn has actually dropped back a little bit to him. So it looks like those two are going to try and stay the line of Stern, running at 11th and 12th respectively. And right behind Lynn currently is Gary Wobold, who I mentioned just a few moments ago, has put on a pretty rousing drive, up 11 spots from where he started in this race. He's got Dan Szynski right behind in 14th, Josh Justice, an S1 driver who runs Spec Racer Fords in real life. You could probably catch him on the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors coming up this Sunday on SMB. He's currently running 15th with Michael Lattarulo in 16th. I believe it's Matthias Marin running down in 17th. Nick Tulo, the father, I believe, of Thor Tulo, he's currently running in 18th. David Fitzgerald in 19th. Jason Ryder running at the top 20 at the moment. But as we ride on board with Michelle Lynn with these wonderful camera angles, thank you very much, Josh, for these wonderful camera packs that we're using on this broadcast today. She's still running strong at the moment, and it seemed like there was a bit of a gap between herself and Franchione. However, the gap between Michelle and Simone, pretty close right now.
Yeah, definitely. She's definitely hounding the back end here. I have a feeling she's going to definitely force this issue at some point, but it looks like right now, after falling back slightly, she is probably just making sure that something doesn't happen, going to make the pass nice and clean, perhaps even use a bit of draft here to try to sling a bit farther up the road.
The good thing with Michelle is that she used to drive Formula V's and also some Formula Fords in real life as well. So she's got a little bit of real life experience. Always loves running in this sim, and a big fan of the series. Of course, the reigning Spec 2 champion. So we'll see what she can do from this 4th season of 2024. Meanwhile, the fight between Jim Brewster and Andrew Love is still quite close. Those two separated by about 0.3 of a second, heading their way through the Bryn chicane. The track map is so hard to keep track of. Full transparency, folks, I use the iRacing track maps when it comes to these broadcasts. Just have them teeny tiny bit in the corner, and there's so many names to these corners. I mean, I can't really judge. People are like, well, no, newer racetracks don't have any corner names of note. So it's nice to have some corner names. However, with every single corner and every single straightaway having some sort of name, it gets to the point where it's a little bit hard to try and keep track of. But nevertheless, Love and Brewster still battling hard. The captain themselves and Mozuki running up in 8th. Pretty much means that these two are battling for P9 and P10 respectively, unless they battle too hard, in which the likes of Michelle Lynn and Franchione down in 11th and 12th could catch up between now and the checkered flag.
Yeah, totally. There's definitely a chance there that always this early in the race there that you could end up moving forward for sure with some sort of an accident or what have you. I know these two guys, I've raced them both personally. They know how to think in the race car. They're not going to do anything too silly. I would imagine, they're just trying to get forward here after a little bit of bad luck there, unfortunately, at the tire barrels, and I believe right at the beginning of the race for Andrew.
Yeah, the tire barriers and the tire bundles, which are made out of the matter of white dwarf stars. It would be kind of funny if they took like BeamNG drive physics with those tire barriers, and you're just able to hit them like a bowling ball or something like that. That would be interesting. A new build of iRacing. I mean, it took them a while to get rid of the hang of rain, so maybe soft tire barrier physics probably won't come until
Might be a little.
probably my mid-30s.
Yep. I think I remember
The,
actually in the RX stuff, I think they had barrels that moved, bundles that moved, and it became a issue immediately just because people hit them, knocked them out of the way, and then every other car behind you hits it. So yeah, I think that's probably why they're as solid as they are. I'm not sure why they're quite as solid as they are. They will literally tear the side of your car off when you hit them. But yeah, you definitely want to stay away from those guys.
I don't know why. Whenever I look at those, I just think of, it's a little bit of a hard analogy to try and sell with you, Josh, because I know that Target Canada went bankrupt years ago, but of course Target big here in the States, and they have the red, like concrete red balls that they have in front of like a big Target location. I remember as a kid having the intense desire to kick one of those, and I feel like if I did, I would have even more like lower extremity pain than I have now, considering the karting stuff I did for so long. My feet are already screwed up as is. If I did that as a kid, that definitely would have messed me up a big time. I'm sure these drivers don't want to hit those tire bundles, because much like those big red concrete balls in front of the target, they will mess your day right up and through the fastest lap times. Vito Marzuki still has the fastest lap of the race at the moment. Actually, right as I say that, McConnell setting at a 156.900 and gets that move done on Thompson to slip his way up into third. So that was a beautiful time for us to bring up that fast lap graphic. McConnell with the cooker. However, Thompson going to try and come around with a cooker of a move around the outside, heading through turn number 3. That's some bold and audacious stuff from Thompson. Will he be able to get that move done? I don't think he will. He'll have a good run on that outside line. Those two are going to be side by side, and look at this. This is a freaking hornet's nest. You've got the Gassis and Rodriguez going side by side, as McConnell and Thompson going side by side. The drivers running in 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th, covered by barely any air. And look at the Gassis trying to slip a wheel and 4 down the inside of McConnell, heading into the Shell Oils hairpin of turn number 5. They're still going to be side by side, heading into the British chicane. But I think McConnell may end up winning that fight when everything is said and done. They finally single file out. Definitely not of their own fruition, though. They wanted to stay side by side, and I think they will be side by side with the Gassis now in the draft. Is he going to try and get a move done on McConnell, heading into the hit slap chicane of turn number 10, 11, and 12? Nice move from the Gassis.
Got it
Will
done.
it stick? Little bit of contact. I think there was a little bit of wheel-to-wheel
Just a
contact
tap.
between
Yeah,
those
that
two.
was very good. I'm actually really impressed here. These guys are racing each other very respectfully and clean. This is not easy. You know, they make it look easy to not hit each other like that, but when you're in the car and people are so close to you and you're looking in your rear view and you're looking out your side and you're looking out the front and there's a car everywhere, it's very hard to keep yourself clean and not touch anybody there. So huge props to these guys for being so clean out there.
Yeah, any lesser drivers, I think that would have ended in an absolute disaster. I've attempted moves like that on iRacing AI, and I've ended up hitting the moon, but nevertheless, these drivers side by side, heading into turn number 16. That's Rodriguez in the midst of that fight between the Gassis and McConnell. Those two battling for 4th as Adam Thompson is just entirely checked out. Now extending that gap to himself and the Gassis to about 4 seconds. But look at that, 3 wide. Heading into turn number 1. I don't have a good feeling about that. I believe that was Jeff Jacobson that had to take a big off-track detour. Thompson extending that gap to actually 2 seconds. My apologies. Now 2.5 with those 4 wide misadventures heading into turn number 1. But now Jeff Jacobson getting himself involved in this fight. And we got to keep our eyes on Jesus Rodriguez. 1 in Spec 1 last time out at Lime Rock Park for the season finale of Season 3 of 2024. And of course took the championship in class in dominating fashion. However, he's not really starting this season off terribly well. Running up in 6th, which, hey, not too bad. He started a little bit farther back. Ooh, boy, my voice already giving out this broadcast. Not sure what that was. I apologize. Saying dogs, I know that high-pitched squeak a few moments ago. But Rodriguez running in 6th. However, in the position he finds himself in, he could very well be in 4th by the end of the straightaway even.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we've got a big accident there. I believe that was Jesus as well. No, it was not. Jeff Jacobson. We'll have to get a replay of that there, but it looks like they just made contact on the straight coming out there. We'll have a good look at that here in a moment, but that's unfortunate after so much clean running there. Too bad. Jesus as well just bit it as well here, so we'll have a quick replay here in a minute or two and have a good look and see what happened to these guys.
Well, I think I said earlier on in the broadcast that you had already had your first commentator jinx, Josh. That may have been one of the worst I've ever pulled off, saying, oh yeah, he's running pretty good, and then just a couple of moments later, a little bit of three wide action heading down the hilltop straightaway. Ends in absolute disaster. Hopefully we can find that replay. in just a couple
Unfortunate.
of
Yeah,
months'
let's
time.
see if we can't get one from Jesus here. We'll see what happened to him. So this is after the first incident. Looks like it's into the tire barrels here. Oh, you know what? He took a bit of damage back there is what it is. So let's see if we can't wind that back slightly.
I think he hit the barrier on the inside of the Hislop chicane, and that just ended in absolute disaster.
It's a
Yeah,
bit too
tough,
far
tough
back,
stuff.
I believe, but it's coming. We'll stick
Yeah,
with
it'll
it
be
for a
a
moment
little
here.
bit. We can savor that three wide action heading through turn number 1. That was absolutely ridiculous. I mean, with how hard they were battling, it was probably a matter of when, not if, that they're going to come to blows. But still, they were battling very hard. They were running very clean, but just a small little bit of, they just bit off a little bit more than they could chew, and probably it'll maybe another like 25-ish seconds. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I believe it
how
was
long
just
it'll
down the
be.
back straight here. Unfortunately, the way that the replays line up in timing here just doesn't allow to back up quite as far, so we'll have to stick with it here for a second. I believe it's just going to be back down the back straight here after this chicane. Looking on track, we don't have too many close fights at the moment here. We'll stick with this just for a sec, see if we can find out what happened. We got the gases
There's
out
the
of
gases
place,
with a
and
big
then
sideways snapping. Oh, what in the world was
Interesting,
that?
yeah.
Look at that.
really
Looks
sure.
like
It
a-
almost looks like he just didn't notice he was there or something. Just floated over to him. What do you think, Ron?
Also, it also looked like the hand of God really grabbed Jesus Rodriguez's car and spun him around. That looked very, very strange. I feel like there may need to be some sort of, I don't know, call it an exorcist or something like that, because that car was moving very, very
Let's see if we can get a little
unnaturally as
closer to it
result of
here.
that contact.
Try
I feel like Jesus Rodriguez may have suffered some damage and may have also suffered some whiplash as a result of that collision. Actually, it may have been Jake. Actually, no, it was Jesus
Yeah.
Rodriguez. And a
Bummer.
very strange move. And there you can see a big hit with Jacobson into that loose tire bundle going down the back straightaway. Either way, that's kind of broken up that fight for P4 as a fight for the podium really has turned into not a fight at all, with Adam actually moving his way up into third with a pretty comfortable gap too.
Yeah, totally. He was fully able to just pull away from those guys behind him who just got caught in like a 6-7 car battle there. And you're never going to move forward when you're fighting that hard 3 wide going into corners and having to block and look in your rear view. It's just not going to work out. So they decided they were going to take fourth back there and fight for it, and that's what they got. And unfortunately, a couple of them got a little unfortunate and ended up in the pits.
I gotta say one thing to come out of this race thus far. Most of the cars that started it are still running out there on the racetrack. So credit where credit's due for this giant field of Formula V race cars to take to the starting grid for this first race of the season and be able to run as strong as they are. Speaking of running strong, these two got into a little bit of drama heading through Hislops in the middle section of this race. However, Andrew Love and Jim Bruce are currently running down in 7th and 8th. Pretty good for them right now. And hey, considering the drama that we saw with that fight just barely inside the top 5 not terribly long ago, and we see some more drama like that, we could see Brewster and Love end up their way a little bit further up the running order, which, hey, I don't think they would mind one bit. Meanwhile, the fight that has been slowly cooking up between Jason Green and Thortulo is about to hit the final crescendo with less than a minute left to go on the clock. They're going to be taking the white flag this time by one more lap of racing action from the opening race of this Formula V Weekend Warrior season. And it's going to be Jason Green grabbing that white flag. The real question is he going to be the one grabbing the checker? We'll just have to wait and see. Thortulo on the 27 started this race from the pole. Jason Green was able to get the punch, actually lead the first lap of the race. It's all a matter of if he's going to lead the last one, because that's the one that counts. Tulo definitely pushing it though all the way into the lattice on the outside of turn number 1. Tulo at this point maybe trying to save his run, save his time, because of course around this racetrack not a whole lot of heavy braking opportunities. However, we are coming to one in just a couple of moments time. The main thing with these FE races is the straightaways. That's where you can get the move done. The slipstream is oh so powerful in these race cars, and we'll see Tulo try and use that to his advantage down the inside, heading into the corner. Not close enough, however. Green was able to match him on the braking zone. So I think at this point, Tulo may be trying to size up the Hislop chicane, being his one last chance to try and grab the lead Going to be riding on board with Tulo, heading his way into the Bryn chicane for the last time. Full commitment from the both of them. Gotta say, Jason Green did not get a good exit, though Tulo did. They're going to be side by side with Tulo on the outside and Green on the inside line, heading their way into the hit slap chicane. It's a battle last late breakers. The real question is who's going to be the one grabbing the lead and grabbing the victory. Full commit from Tulo, and he gets the move done. Well done from Thor Tulo to get it done on Jason Green, heading through one of the tightest, twistiest, and most challenging sections of this lap around Oulton Park. Jason Green slotted into second, the driver of the number 1 car, hoping to be the number 1 driver this afternoon. The real question is he going to be able to do it when everything is said and done? Gotta say, Adam Thompson also ran into some sort of issue. He's dropped down the running order and has lost out on the podium position and the victory in the Spec 2 category.
Yeah, we'll have to
touch
check
on
that
that in
out.
just a couple of moments' time. Jason Green, meanwhile, trying to get the move done around the outside, heading into the Lodge corner for the final time in this Formula V Weekend Warriors race. It's going to be a drag race between the two of them. Green had a beautiful exit, and it's going to be side by side across the line, and Jason Green wins
He
with
got it. Wow.
1,000th of a second between
Wow.
himself and Thor Tulo after
What a
over
finish.
30 minutes of racing action. Tulo just had a bad exit coming out of the final corner, and that's what cost him when everything is said and done. 0.001 of a second. It was a matter of inches, millimeters even, separating those two cars when everything is said and done. iRacing in Sim officially has it listed as 0.004 of a second, but either way, it is a ludicrously small margin when everything is said and done. Credit work, actually, hang on. I think our graphics may be a little bit wrong. I think Thor Tulo ended up winning it because it's listed.
Yeah, we have a. I
as
think
Thor
that was
Tulo
so
winning
close that it has not actually been able to. That is a 1/1000th of. I've never seen this before, ever. That was the closest finish I've ever seen by a long shot. I've never seen 0.001 before. I'm not even sure that the system knows what to do with that at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think it does, because according to our live timing screen, it's listed as Jason Green winning it, but according to iRacing, it's Thor Tulo winning it. Who just did, I think I saw someone do the jump a few moments ago. I'm not sure who that was. I think I very briefly saw
Right,
it.
actually, yes, we are
Formula V
probably
race
missing
cars.
jumps here, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, again, I'd like to also say we got Andrew Love here, took the win in S2, so we're going to find out here what happened to Adam right now. Let's see
boy,
how
don't tell me this was a
unfortunate,
crash.
I think maybe the tire barrels are to blame.
Yeah, let's try and figure out what exactly happened to him. He ended up finishing down in 27th.
No, he just
Everything
stopped.
is said and done. Yeah, I think there may have been some sort of netcode contact, possibly. I'm curious if we could ride on board with him, see if there's some sort of
Very
damage, because that
strange.
car did not look healthy coming out the corner.
Did he run out of gas,
Either way,
maybe?
Adam Thompson, I feel like, yeah, and that could be a very good theory as well. These drivers tend to feel it a little bit light into the race car.
Yeah, I
what in
know.
the
Pretty
world?
inconclusive there. I'm not really sure what happened. We'll have to talk to him there after the race. Maybe we'll have a chance to and see what happened. It almost looks like he just gave it up.
Yeah, that would be not sure why in the world he did that. Maybe not wanting to show off. I'm not too sure. I mean, there's been some bizarre stuff to happen over the past few moments. We have a winner of the race. We don't even know what it is. It could be Jason Green. It could be Thor Tulo. I believe it would be Thor Tulo, just based off what iRacing is telling us. According to our live timing screen, it's Jason Green.
I'm gonna do a little
Many strange
pause here.
things going on to bring this season to a conclusion. I think we may have to do an actual photo finish here on SMB, figure out who won it. I think just based off that brief look, it would be Tulo. I go frame by frame here to figure out. Ooh, yeah, I think that would have to be Tulo winning it.
Very
It's
difficult
an
to get the
actual
right
photo
angle here,
finish
but
that we just
yeah.
had.
I believe you're
I'm
right.
trying
Yeah.
to find a better angle. I think what
It's
we
about
need
the
to do
best
for
one.
camera packs moving forward is to have an actual like photo finish cam for situations like this. I'll tell you what. I think me and Josh can both speak about this from experience, considering the experience that we've had doing sim racing broadcasts. That I don't think has ever happened. We've had some very close calls, mainly from Weekend Warriors series. That's the first time we have had two different winners get decided, but I guess in the end, it will be Thor Tulo winning it when everything is said and done. I'll tell you what, regardless, though, that's definitely some fantastic clip material. So, hint to the bosses
For
here
sure,
at
yep.
SMB, Daniel
Yep,
or
good
Adam.
stuff.
Turn that into a YouTube short because that was some awesome stuff at the end of that race. I think we got the results hopefully loaded up in just a couple of moments' time. I'll see what it says on the results tab. Just have to see what iRacing declares the winner to be. In flashbacks to the NASCAR race in Kentucky, actually Kansas, earlier on this season when Chris Buescher and Kyle Larson pretty much tied. According to iRacing, Thor Tulo wins it, and when everything is said and done, Jason Green got to end up behind in P2. That's Michael McConnell running at your podium in third. Alan DeGasse is going to be finishing in fourth. Guido Marzucchi in fifth. Jim Brewster in sixth. Andrew Love going to be finishing this race in P7. Simone Franchione going to be finishing this race in P8. Joshua Justice in ninth when everything is said and done. Nice recovery drive from the driver out of the 099 car. That's going to be Gary Wolbold running at your top 10. Michael Lattarulo in 11th. Dan Szynski in 12th. Matthias Marin in 13th. Michelle Lynn in 14th. Morn Human in P15. Nick Tulo going to be finishing in 16th. Jason Grider in 17th. Matthew Merces finishing this race in P18. And we can see it's Brian Szynski in 19th. Brian Hansen in 20th. Wayne Buttermore in 21st. Jeff Jacobs in 22nd. Parvinder Ladar finishing this race in 23rd. David Fitzgerald in 24th. Mario Pacone in 25th. Adam Thompson, after a heartbreaker towards the end of this race, he's going to end up in 26th when everything is said and done. Bummer indeed. Travis Rail in 27th. Jesus Rodriguez in 28th. That's going to be James Hadlock in 29th. And Simon Mayer, who ran into some difficulties earlier on, rounding at the 30 cars, took the green flag in this race. And I think those are the results taken care of. Wow, indeed, Josh.
Yeah, that was a great race, man. Great first race for me to do, I think, with the V's and stuff here, knowing some of the drivers and everything. That is the closest finish I've ever seen. I've never seen a .0001 finish before. It looks like Thor took it. We do have Jason Green in the interview room here if you want to pull him in and have a chat there, Ron.
Yeah, that sounds good. We'll have a chat with Jason Green, who, at least according to iRacing, ended up in second. According to our live timing screens, though, Jason, you ended up winning this race. So congratulations or commiserations, whichever way you want to take it. Talk us through that absolutely wild fight between yourself and Thor Tulo throughout the race that we just saw here.
Oh my God, yeah, I'll take the congratulations even though I finished in second. That race was incredible. That was so much fun. Yeah, so whether or not I won or lost, it doesn't matter. It was just, yeah, that was an incredible race. Yeah, I was just, since I was in the lead on the last lap, I was just waiting to see where Thor wanted to make his move. And then I messed up the first chicane. So he kind of forced his hand going into the second one. And then, yeah, trying to set up for the last corner. I was surprised I was able to get a run around the outside in the last corner. And yeah, I thought I had him. After I still had a nose in on the exit, just tried to take the shortest distance to the line, and yeah, it's 4,000ths, so it's pretty much a photo finish. But yeah, huge congratulations to Thor. Yeah, he drove a really good race, and it was a lot of fun.
And you two were battling hard from start to finish. We saw even at the beginning of the race on lap 1, heading into turn number 4, y'all were side by side. It was just you two pretty much in a class of your own. Talk us through managing that fight, trying to figure out when to let him slip in front, when you want to take the run to get in front. Just talk us through your mindset when it came to battling him throughout the 30 minutes of racing we just saw.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much up until like 2 laps to go, we weren't really battling. We were changing positions, but we were just kind of, leapfrogging to maximize lap time for the most part. So yeah, just pretty much in that situation, you just don't want to end up side by side going into a corner. If somebody has the run and they're going to be ahead by the corner, then you just kind of lift and drop in behind. So yeah, I think up until maybe halfway or a little over halfway, Adam was flying, and so any serious battle between Thor and I would let them catch up. So we're just battling, but not battling going to corners.
Well, it's a fantastic way to kick this season off for Season 4 of 2024 for not just this series, but the rest of the Weekend Warriors as well. Fingers crossed I'll see you out on track tomorrow for the Spec Racer Fords and Formula Fords. And now, before we let you go, Jason, is there anyone you want to give thanks to or shout out?
Shout out to you, Ron, for being solo today. I know that's super difficult to do, especially with a crazy series like this. So, yeah, hats off to you.
Damn, Josh was actually joining me in the commentary
Yeah,
booth.
I was actually here today, Jason. I've been commentating as well, so hopefully I did a good job there. And and at the end of it, yeah.
Shout out to Josh too for commentating and doing producing.
Double duty today.
That's
yeah.
also super difficult. So yeah, shout out to both
Yeah,
of
man,
y'all.
I'm really enjoying it, man, and it was a great race to watch there as well. So congrats, man. Well done.
Yep. Thanks.
There we go, Jason. Congratulations on the P1 according to our live timing screen. Excited to see you back out on the racetrack for the rest of the Weekend Warrior Series. Thanks for joining us, Matt.
Yep. See you tomorrow.
And that was Jason Green, who I'm not sure will take very kindly to me shouting, "You fool!" when he said that I was all by myself in the commentary booth. And I think we have Thortula waiting in the interview waiting area. He currently has his mic muted, so we'll see if he can possibly unclick that. We can have a chat with him before we wrap up today's broadcast of the Formula Vee Weekend Warriors Series on SMB. I'll tell you what, as we wait for Thor to unmute himself, we'll just run through the season schedule that we have. Of course, Oulton Park to kick this season off today. Then we're going to be heading to tracks like VIR on the North configuration, Mid-Ohio, Navarra, Oschersleben, Rudskogen, Summit Point, Zandvoort, Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the road course, Lime Rock Classic, which was the host of the season finale race last season, Lebanon, Laguna Seca, and Okayama to round out this 13-race season. Still waiting to see. I think, Josh, I'm curious if you can sing some more of like Western Canadian hymn as I go up here and see if Thortula can quickly have a chat with us. Actually, no, I just saw him move into interview waiting area once. I guess he is able to have a chat with us. So we'll drag Thor in here to have a quick little chat when everything is said and done. Thortula, congratulations on the victory, or commiserations on the P2. The iRacing results and our results on the live timing graphic were a little bit misconstrued. So talk us through a nuts race meeting for the opening race of this Formula Vee Weekend Warrior season.
Man, I just gotta say, it was so much fun, and a real big congratulations to Jason. I mean, it really could have been either one of our races, you know? It was just a really long 30 minutes of just cat and mouse, just seeing where he was strong, where I was strong, where he was weak, where I was weak. And yeah, just gotta say, it was simply just a lot of fun.
Oh, it was a hell of a lot of fun from us in the commentary booth. I'm sure it was a hell of a lot of fun for you behind the wheel. That just looked like a really fun race as well. These Formula Vee race cars are always a blast to drive around, especially at track as fun as Oulton Park is. Just talk us through what it was like driving this combination around this racetrack for the past 30 minutes.
Well, I gotta say, the Formula V works so well around British tracks, and especially Oulton Park. I myself am going to be racing Formula V's at Oulton Park in real life, and I just gotta say, it's such a nice flow, and it's very well suited for the Formula V. I absolutely adore this circuit.
Yeah, this track is always very fun, and in the Formula V's, I'm sure it's no different, both in the sim and in real life. We mentioned it earlier on in the broadcast about your experience driving in real life, so while we have the opportunity, I kind of want to ask you about how the experience here in this sim correlates to the stuff you do IRL.
I gotta say, it helps an incredible amount. The people at iRacing did a great job with the V. It feels just like what the real life V is like. And for example, I did a Brands Hatch race with Formula Vee Weekend Warriors a few weeks back, and that just helped so much when I went there in real life. And just every little bit of like the braking point, just the lines, everything was picture perfect, exactly the same with a sim, and it just helps so much.
Definitely a whole lot of due diligence, if I can spit my words out here, from iRacing to try and make it feel as close to real life as possible. But it's really nice to have that perspective as well. Now, Thor, thank you for joining us in the commentary booth. And now, before we let you go, is there anyone you want to give a thanks to or shout out?
I just want to say thank you to my team, Brabham Esports, and to my friends watching. Let's see if I can get through them all. Oliver, Shanza, Daniel, Ethan, Kellen, and Adam. Yeah, that's it.
Alrighty, well there you go. Thor, congratulations on the victory when everything was said and done. Just a matter of inches and from Chasing Green with everything said and done. Congratulations on the victory, and excited to see you back out on the racetrack for the rest of the season. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
And that right there was Thor Tulo, who ends up winning it just barely in front of Jason Green. I'll tell you what, Josh, that I think is the first time that we've ever seen a situation in which the iRacing live timing and the live timing software that we have is actually a little bit contradictory, but it just speaks volumes about the fantastic finish that we just saw after 30 minutes of great racing action as well. Thoughts on this race before we wrap things up?
Yeah, absolutely. That was a great first race for me here to be a part of. One of the better V races I think I've ever seen over the years there. We have a great field of drivers this season. I'm expecting it to even grow from here. This whole series, the Weekend Warriors and everybody involved with it, are just killing it at the moment. Honestly, it feels like we are really on to something here. And that has a lot to do with, obviously, the people in the background, Daniel and Adam and Ron, yourself, and everybody who's helping out, Ray, Stevie. Just made an awesome series, and I'm really, really looking forward to being part of the V's this year. So, yeah, that's great, man. Glad to be a part of it.
And really happy to have you in the commentary booth as well. I think that was definitely trial by fire from your perspective, but I hope you enjoyed it because that was a fantastic race. And hopefully all the viewers tuning into this stream today on Apex. Oh boy, that is not a word that I just said.
Slow motion broadcasting. Yeah, we'll
slow motion broadcasting. Let me rewind myself. For all those tuning into this broadcast today on slow motion broadcasting, I hope you enjoyed the racing action from the Formula Vee Weekend Warriors series. And if you're in the mood for some more Weekend Warriors action, you can tune in to the season beginning race of the Formula Ford Weekend Warriors at Navarra tomorrow, along with the opening race of the Spec Racer Ford season at Snetterton. You can catch all of that action only here on slow motion broadcasting and never anywhere else. And I think before I mix up my names again, I will just about wrap things up. So for myself, Ron Maunz, and Josh Wilkie doing a fantastic job joining me in the commentary booth and working all of the cameras in the virtual production hauler, I say thank you all so very much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. And now I'm off to go get my butt chewed out by one of our bosses here at SMB. Take care, everybody.
You're clear, dude.
I see a Budweiser. Go ahead and hold it up.
Yes. There's
that was
our
the
Budweiser.
biggest clue.
Yes, right
Doing
there.
it for Dale.
Man, it's so many gimmicks, right? I feel like they're making it a lot more complicated than it needs to be. I mean, a lot of people, you get polarizing opinions on DRS.
I know you guys know exactly what I'm talking about here, but sometimes the effort, it's all about the boys. You know, like, hey, you know, life sucks sometimes, and you need the boys.
iRacing kind of always has a tendency to kind of buff
Yes.
the new cars just a little bit. I'm not going to go on record saying it's because they want people to spend money on their platform and buy all the new content.
Confirmed.
But
Yes.
but
We welcome you all to slow motion for this presentation of the Formula Vee Weekend Warriors series, and we're about to grab the start in just a few moments' time. It's going to be Megan Overstreet leading them to green with Ladar right alongside. We're waiting for that green flag to come at, and the drivers are now on their way. Some of these drivers may be a little bit more aggressive towards the end of this race, as side by side with Love and DeGassis heading into 5.
Oh, it's close. It's a bit treacherous on the corner. Rex is just seeing Lynn run wide there, Ron.
Down the running order, Love and Brewster, meanwhile, they have been in the tow and they've seen all these drivers try and do their own maneuvers. They definitely have something cooking behind the wheel of those FV race cars. As Montgomery gets that move done, one's running at the back. Well, not actually running right now, I don't believe, as there's a spinner with Ladar.
Oh, no.
Oh, and there's contact as well.